say.
Yeah. So.
All right, January countdown. We're going back to the wheel.
It's a bit anticlimactic if we're not being able to see.
Yeah, all right, guys.
I think it is the same.
It's close though. It's another close one. Oh, and it sneaks in to Copa America.
All right,
boys. I'm gonna let you take this one. How do we feel about Copa America? It was just announced last week that it's going to be in the United States for 2024. It's going to include 6 CONCACAF teams and all of South America. So, initial thoughts, Lodge.
I'm honestly pretty excited. For the person at home, I think we've talked about Copa America a little bit. For those of you who don't know, just to remind you, Copa America is kind of the regional tournament. Usually every 20 years or so, the North American teams kind of join with the South American teams. But because we're hosting the World Cup, they actually gave us the ability to host it this time around. I'm very excited because it gives us an opportunity to play against some top-level teams, like Argentina, who just won the World Cup, Brazil, I would say Chile, even in that, Uruguay.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited because I don't think a lot of people know about it. And so as we talked about before the podcast, we're probably going to get cheap tickets to some pretty high-class games.
Yeah, like we were saying, it's a budget World Cup, and like in terms of accessibility, no one's talking about it, but I think people are going to be really excited about it when it's here because they're going to be like, oh, we can see. I don't know if Messi will play in the Copa America.
I think he might. I'm optimistic.
Yeah,
and that by itself is a
Messi is playing like Colombia, like in my home city, and like it's the Copa America, so tickets, might be reasonable, at least relative to the World Cup. So there's going to be cool opportunities to see some really good soccer, and I'm selfishly very excited because, I'm probably going to go to the World Cup. Probably on my parents' dime if I'm lucky. Those tickets are going to be expensive.
As a 27-year-old?
Well, okay, true. I will be older.
We'll be a little older.
Me and my dad have talked about this for a while. Okay?
All right.
But I'm saying, there's going to be reasonably priced tickets for Copa America where you could get to see really good games and really good players. This isn't like, CONCACAF where it's like going to be all shit teams. There's South America teams here that are going to be really good and really competitive. So I'm pumped to get $50 tickets and get drunk at Soldier Field watching teams.
Yeah,
great. Fingers crossed. We'd love a game in Chicago.
Yeah, that's another thing. We don't know if it'll be at Soldier, but they should.
Yeah, It would be cool. And it's easy to think of it from a kind of like, what are the casual fans here in the U.S. going to do? But also, you got to take into consideration, like, all of South America, like, U.S. is such an easy travel situation. Maybe not, like, transit. That's a whole podcast for another time, I suppose. But just getting here in the first place, that's going to be easy for South Americans, something that they want to do. I bet the Argentinian fans are going to be all out for it if it's one of Messi's last big tournaments. So, I'm really stoked. And Lodge, you mentioned the meaningful games. You want to add some context to why meaningful games are important in this next 4 years?
Yeah. So, as our team kind of gets older, we were obviously a very young team in the last World Cup, second youngest, third youngest. I forget what we settled on, something in there. But we were one of the youngest teams, and so this World Cup was really just about us getting experience, playing some top teams, getting the young guys some games under their belt so that when the World Cup kind of comes around, we have more of that round of 16 experience. We have the knockout experience, things like that. This just gives us another opportunity to do so on a little bit of a smaller scale, but any international tournament, you're going to be having some pretty high intensity games. So it's the ability to, see who can persevere, who can't. If the team can come together, a good opportunity to gel. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing the young team. At that point, they'll be honestly middle-aged for a professional career. So It'll be good.
Yeah. And it was also just looking dangerous there for a while that, we were going to automatically qualify for the World Cup and just have like nothing.
That's a good point.
So I think and we're going to get into the coaches, but there's a lot of argument being made that, like, for those who aren't familiar, the international game, like the role of the coach is a lot more, I don't know, it's more like being a CEO, right? Like, you're watching a lot of games, but you're not day to day working with your guys. They come in for camps every few months. That's when you touch base with them and stuff like that.
Like a GM, I would say. Yeah.
So like the appeal of it, even though the appeal of coaching Brazil sounds on paper amazing for like a coach who wants to coach and be with his players, it's not as appealing. So I think the prospect of like 4 years with no World Cup qualifiers and like, playing for the Gold Cup and CONCACAF was probably not very enticing for coaches. So just from the coaching perspective and who we could get, I think that's a huge deal. And so
that's a good point. I don't think a Gold Cup is looking good in a trophy cabinet compared to some European competition. So,
You know, I hadn't thought of that, and like, because from a coaching perspective, that would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we're lucky then that we're having this Copa America. I guess we'll get to the coaching situation later, but no, I'm excited for it.
Jose Mourinho isn't bragging about winning a Gold Cup. I'll tell you that. He's not pointing up in the stands. One Gold Cup. Yeah. So, also just my take on like, you know, I see all the time, and having gone through a World Cup now as a U.S. men's national team fan, it's crazy just how completely irrational that tournament is. How much emotional investment you have in, you know, 3 90-minute games and then whatever, right? And it's like, you know, if Tyler Adams just tracks back, you know, whatever, and that's like 4 years of soccer build up and a couple plays like that. And so the World Cup's an irrational event, and people have already been planning for 2026 and how important it is. But for me, I think that this Copa America allows us to like just plan for 2024. Like, you're playing in a major tournament. It's not like you're not probably going to win the World Cup in 2026. So why not just like put all your efforts towards doing everything you can in 2024? And you're still probably not going to win that either. But you have a chance to make a deep run. And so like guys like Tim Ream, like I'm not here to phase him out. You know, no, he's not going to play in the World Cup, but he's got a shot at the Copa America. So I would like to see our coaches and stuff like frame to even like hiring the coaches and then whoever they pick for personnel. Like, I'd like to see them frame it in that context.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, this tournament is big enough that it stands alone, right?
Yeah,
this isn't
exactly.
just like,
it's not a warm-up.
This isn't just like the part of the road to the World Cup, like something like the Gold Cup in a way would be considered. This is legit. And like you said, this kind of even has more potential upside than a World Cup because we actually kind of do sort of have a chance to win this.
Yeah.
Still not going to be favored, but you know, there's more of an opportunity, especially like some of these teams that it's not as deep.
I could see us having a semifinal berth. If we make it to the final, that would be dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, you need something crazy to happen to Argentina and Brazil.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like even the prospect of like, you know, a semifinal matchup against Messi.
That would be cool.
Like,
yeah.
in a tournament like this, like we've never even had that opportunity before. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be awesome. And let's see. Hopefully the U.S. takes it as seriously as we do, because we do take it seriously here.
yes.
We say sitting in the basement on a Wednesday night recording this.
That's as serious as it gets. All right, going back to the wheel.